Next, Eric Benson, our devoted extra credit crew member, went out and found the top 10 outrageous excuses professors have heard from students. Here it is.
Recently tell me that they could not complete a project because they had to work this week. And I said, so how many hours are you having to work this week? Or how many days are you having to work this week? They said 1. I said, how many hours are you working on that day? 3. So that is probably my most outlandish excuse that I've heard recently.
The data, it just disappeared. The file disappeared and they can't seem to retrieve it. So a file disappearing on the computer. Never mind that they've known they had the assignment all semester.
Is that my printer just ran out of ink. Because I don't know about anybody else, but every printer that I've ever owned or seen in my life has this little blinky thing that says the ink is getting low, the ink is getting low, the ink is getting low. And somehow, all of a sudden, the ink is just gone, vanished.
Because the grandma died. I mean, everybody must have a grandma that dies at least once.
I had a student once email me and tell me that they weren't going to be in class because their mother had called and their family dog was dying and they had to go home and be with the family.
Why their papers are late? The computer exploded. It didn't just die, it exploded.
The most absurd is when a student said that they couldn't come to campus because there was too much snow on the ground, and it snowed earlier in the week and not necessarily the day before or anything like that. And so I said, could you please send an email with a picture just to show me that your car's stuck? And it was there was no snow underneath her car, just like a pile of snow that she could lift.
A young lady who came to class and told me that she had missed before because her pet bunny had a hysterectomy and needed comfort, so she had stayed home to take care of the bunny.
Outrageous excuse would probably be a couple years ago when Modern Warfare 2 came out, I think on a Monday or Tuesday night. There was an assignment due about 3 days later, and I actually had a student come in and say he was unable to complete the assignment because he was playing Modern Warfare 2 for about 3 consecutive days. The only other thing I'd add to that is the assignment had been known about for about 4 weeks, so it's interesting that waited that long in order to work on it.
Who, in Colorado, she decided to skip the last 2 weeks of class because she went helicopter skiing.
Student calls up Friday morning and says he's got to get back to Council Bluffs. His grandmother has just died. Later that night, I see him at the bar watching a ball game at Pepper's.
I don't get excuses from my students because they enjoy my class just so much.
Thanks, Eric. Really though, who hasn't used some of those excuses? Because I know I have.
I don't know what you're talking about. Normal people usually don't use those excuses and have more common sense.
Yeah, I was just kidding.